Walk into a prestigious art gallery, and you might expect a masterpiece. Instead, you're staring at a burnt mosquito coil. No paint, no sculpting, just a piece of trash, isolated on a pristine white pedestal. This scenario defined a controversial 1974 event in Kuala Lumpur. Artists Reza Piadasa and Sulaiman Isa organized an exhibition titled Towards a Mystical Reality. Visitors encountered a collection of entirely unmanipulated everyday items: an empty birdcage, 2 half-empty bottles of Coca-Cola, a discarded raincoat. The artists did not craft, paint, or physically alter any of these objects. Placing raw garbage into a formal gallery setting raises a difficult question. If the artists didn't actually create the objects, how do they qualify as significant works of art? Prior to 1974, the Malaysian art scene followed Western mandates. To be considered an artist, one had to master oil paint and mimic movements like abstract expressionism, where value resided in the physical labor and emotion visible on the canvas. This aesthetic standard clashed with local politics in 1969. Deadly riots fractured the country, leading to the National Cultural Policy, a government mandate to unify the nation through a distinct local identity. Piadasa and Isa responded with a 10,000-word manifesto. They argued that for Malaysian art to survive, it had to abandon its reliance on Western stylistic influence. Piadasa and Isa used these objects as intellectual munitions to dismantle colonial standards and clear a path for a local identity. The mechanical key to this exhibition is institutional theory, popularized by philosopher George Dickey. Dickey proposed art is defined not by beauty, but by a status conferred by the art world, curators, critics, and galleries. Piadasa and Isa weaponized this mechanism. By placing ordinary items inside a recognized space, they forced the establishment to validate raw reality as high art. They needed a venue with significant cultural weight. They chose the Dewan Bahasa dan Pustaka, the government's official body for language and literature. By leveraging the prestige of this building, the artists co-opted the very authority needed to validate their work. If the institution can legitimize anything, why choose trash? Why not display traditional local crafts to support the national identity? The choice rejected Western concepts of time. Western art often views time through physical action, like the movement of a sculpture. The artists instead look toward Taoist and Zen philosophies. Zen philosophy focuses on mental time. Here, an object is not a permanent physical form, but a temporary event within a larger continuum. The items they selected highlighted this transience: human hair from a barbershop, a burnt mosquito coil marking the passage of a single night. They curated these objects to strip away aesthetics, forcing the audience to stop looking at physical forms and start conceiving the reality of space and time. The local art establishment met this provocation with outrage. The tension peaked when a prominent poet, Saleh Benjened, unzipped his pants and urinated on the gallery floor in protest. Under institutional theory, this protest actually completed the work. An artwork requires interaction and critical deciphering from the art world to exist. By engaging with the exhibit so forcefully, even through an act of disgust, the critics validated it. The reaction proved that the artists had successfully co-opted the cultural conversation. This exhibition proved that Malaysian art could function as a cerebral, philosophical provocation, moving beyond the physical limits of paint and canvas. The next time you encounter an ordinary object in a museum, like a pile of bricks or a blank canvas, shift your perspective. Look past the effort of the maker and consider the intent of the institution. The physical object on the pedestal is a placeholder for the context and philosophy that force a confrontation with the viewer.